This video is going to be an advanced spiritual teaching for anyone who is strong enough to hear. You have been warned. What Osho had revealed to me in my dream. A while back, I was driving down the road to my house when I saw a little dog running around in the street. I didn't like this dog very much. It was a tiny little shat that would always bark at me every time I walked by. Now, I saw the dog from a mile away, but I laughed to myself thinking, what if I just floored the gas pedal? But the negative thoughts did not win this battle. As I approached closer, the dog was still in the street. The owner and some family were around outside, which is why the dog presumably had an air of false confidence. As the dog approached sudden death, the owner yelled out, "No!" I could tell he was both talking to me and the dog at the same time. What a talented guy. I stopped and he ran and picked up the dog and he smacked it on the butt for its disobedience. But he was more like a deer that had just got attacked by a grizzly bear and needed to release some excess tension. Sometimes you just need to hit something really hard in order to feel better. He said, "Thank you," in a tone of upset irritation. Of course, the dog was never in any real danger, because I was already aware of the situation long beforehand. As you might see, the whole negative situation was created by his own mind. But to be fair, he was not aware that I was aware. He was also unaware that the dog probably didn't understand why it was being punished. Either way, I was satisfied, and I drove off chuckling. The point of this story, however, was that it was reflected in a dream that I had around the same time. Now, apparently, I forgot to write the dream down, so I'll do my best to remember the most important parts, the gist of the story. So I remember there was a basketball, and there may have been a kid playing in the street. Just like the dog, the basketball had rolled in front of a big truck. It was a special-looking truck, unlike anything in our world, but there was a bunch of people in the back of it. When I approached, there was Osho and Papaji sitting in the back, along with some others that were just background characters. Papaji remained silent during our interaction, but Osho revealed to me something that was quite profound. It was a great pointer that helped guide me during this phase of my spiritual journey. But before I reveal what he said, we must lay some foundation to understand why it was important. You see, on the spiritual path, we typically identify ourselves as spiritual seekers of some sort. It's not that this is bad, it's just it can be a hindrance to our progress. So long as we identify as spiritual seekers, we cannot be spiritual finders. This identity can prevent us from actually finding what we are looking for. We can get caught in the spiritual land of playing the game of spirituality forever and ever and ever. And this can be a great illusion. You see, there are 3 layers to the matrix of illusion. People like Andrew Tate talk about escaping the matrix, but they really only escape the very first layer. The second layer is infinitely times more difficult to escape, and most people stay there forever. The first layer of the matrix is the physical world. It is realizing that the world is not as we believe it to be. However, spiritual seekers fall into the second layer of illusion. That is the matrix of mind. We get lost in spiritual ideas and fantasies. We even become a slave to the spiritual path. In this state, we exist as the ego trying to find some spiritual riches. We've transcended the first layer, that is, trying to achieve material riches, but all we've done is simply focus our attention towards these kind of spiritual riches. We are still a slave to the matrix of illusion, and the ego is still in charge. Only until one is able to break into the third layer does one truly become free. Here, the matrix only exists at a very subtle level. You might imagine the first and heaviest layer of the matrix as being underwater. Then when you transcend into the next layer, it's like being on land. But entering into the final layer is like entering into space. The density becomes lighter and lighter, and you become more and more free. What Osho told me in my dream was a reminder of how to break into the final layer of illusion. Freedom or enlightenment, as people know it, is breaking into this final layer of illusion. The reason I still consider this to be illusion rather than escaping the illusion is because there is no real escape from the matrix. There is great freedom here, except the matrix includes all of existence. Only the ego mind is a slave to the matrix. However, your true nature as consciousness does not exist in this matrix. Consciousness is the creator of existence. It is the transcendent state. Essentially, we all exist outside of illusion already. We only pretend that we are stuck. As it has been said, you are already in heaven. You're only dreaming that you are not. We are all the same one consciousness experiencing itself through an infinite array of different forms. All form is the matrix of illusion. But by recognizing your true place as awareness consciousness, you begin returning home. You ascend to higher and higher dimensions of reality into more heavenly realms. Now, brace yourself for this next thought. And that is, the heavenly realms are still the matrix of illusion. Because even here, we still exist as a separate entity. We still exist in form, even if it's the most subtle form. Now, on a practical level, the game of life is about experiencing all the different flavors of existence. We're here to play in the illusion and not necessarily try so hard to escape it. So we can enjoy the game of transcendence. We can enjoy the physical world with all of its earthly pleasures. When we're finished with that, we can enter into the spiritual path and seek all of these spiritual riches and enjoy this. We can enjoy rising into higher and higher states into the heavenly realms. We can enjoy dissolving back into the absolute and then enjoy returning back into form. In the end, there is nothing to achieve. We are meant to simply enjoy playing the game of life. That is why in spirituality, there is such a great emphasis on realizing that you are exactly where you need to be. Everything is perfect and already as it should be, because you are not meant to be doing this or that. You are only meant to be. The point of life is to live. So no matter what you are doing, no matter where you are in life, you are already engaging in the highest purpose. You are already tasting experience, whether or not it's good, bad, peaceful, loving, scary. Sometimes you want spicy. Sometimes you want savory. Maybe you want cool or tangy or sweet. All flavors of experience contribute equally to the buffet of life. However, in this game, as you live, we are also trying to reach higher and higher levels. So at one end, we accept ourselves fully as we are in the moment. And at the other end, we seek to improve ourselves and grow as spiritual beings having a human experience. Through this balance, we play the game of life to its fullest. What Osho shared with me was a way out of the pitfall that many people fall into on the spiritual journey. The ego wants the spiritual riches of peace, love, joy, freedom, but the ego is still in charge. As Muji has said before, the last shred of identity can be like your thumb blocking out the sun. A tiny bit of ego identity left can keep you from experiencing the freedom and the bliss of the Absolute. What Osho said to me was, don't get attached to the joy of the moment. You see, I, like most other spiritual seekers, want to find this joy. This is the whole point of the spiritual path for a lot of people. They are unhappy and they want to use the spiritual path to get happiness. But this desire is what will keep you from ascending to higher states of consciousness. The desire for these spiritual riches keeps the ego alive. If anything, our only desire should be for freedom, not joy, because joy may come and go, but freedom lasts forever. At some point I give up my desire for love or joy or even peace. And so now what happens is that when life becomes turbulent, there is no real reaction from me. There is no strong identity left. I rarely, if ever, am in resistance to life. If I desire peace and peace does not arise, then I am pulled back into ego identity because I am not getting what I want. If I want love, but love is not present, then I am unhappy. I am suffering. If I am on the spiritual journey to find joy when joy is not there, then I am disappointed or unhappy. But when I do not attach myself to any desire, then I am free. And this freedom is everlasting. As it has been said, things are only heavy when you choose to pick them up. And when we pick things up, it's the same as when we have strong desires. And so when you just let go, when you drop everything, that is when you experience the relief of freedom. Because you're no longer burdening yourself with all of these different things, these ideas, these identities, and these desires. As it has been said, what we release most completely, we receive most completely. Paradoxically, the way to love and joy and peace is like how Papaji said to call off the search. He was talking about the search for the self, that which you already are. The self is the source of all love, all joy, and all peace. You cannot have these things because you are these things. Your desire for them means you have identified with your ego. And the ego is what creates the sense of separation from the self. For those who are ready, give up everything to God. As Osho said, do not be attached to joy. Call off the search and recognize that you are already free. What you are looking for is already where you are looking from. God is everywhere, always, and God can never be separated from you. You do not have to try or do anything. God is simply awaiting your recognition.